Mommy, I see light. The scream slices through the mansion. Walls shake, glass rattles. The silence of wealth shatters in an instant. And right there in the middle of it all, a 6-year-old girl, blonde hair, red dress, teddy bear clutched tight against her chest, her lips parted, her pupils flickering in the glow. For years, every doctor said it was impossible, said she would never see, said her future was locked in darkness. But tonight, one woman knelt in front of her. Not a doctor, not a specialist, not anyone you'd expect. A maid, blue uniform, yellow gloves still damp from scrubbing the family's kitchen. One hand gripping a cheap plastic flashlight, the other trembling on the little girl's shoulder. The beam cuts across the child's face, and suddenly, she gasps. Her chest jerks forward. Her eyes widen like she's staring into the sun for the very first time. Mommy, I see light. The father in the doorway freezes. A Wall Street man with cufflinks and a silk tie, suddenly stripped of every ounce of power. His glass of whiskey slips, shattering across the marble. He doesn't move. He doesn't blink. He can't. The mother stumbles forward, both hands over her mouth. Her knees buckle, heels slipping on the polished floor, tears already burning her cheeks. And the maid? She can barely breathe. Her fingers lock around that flashlight like it's the only thing keeping her alive. Her heart pounds in her ears, because she knows what this means. She knows the truth no one else dared to see. For 6 years, experts spoke with confidence, with arrogance, with finality. She'll be blind forever. That's what they said. That's what they swore. And yet, here she was, a maid, invisible to everyone, unimportant to the world. And in this moment, she had just proved them all wrong. The air in the mansion feels heavy, like the walls themselves are holding their breath. Because what happens next will expose secrets this family never wanted to face. Listen carefully. How many times have you walked past someone who looked invisible? The cleaner, the cashier, the bus driver. What if the person you ignored held the key to your child's life? Don't make that mistake. Subscribe right now. If not, drop in the comments and explain why you'd rather stay blind. The room is still shaking from those 4 words. The father's glass is still in pieces on the floor. The mother can't stop crying. And the maid? She stays there on her knees, flashlight trembling in her hand. Emily clutches her teddy tighter. Her tiny voice cracks the silence again. Mommy, I see light. The mother crawls closer, her knees scraping the marble. She grabs her daughter's hands. Baby, what did you just say? Emily presses her cheek against the teddy. Her voice is soft. I see light. The mother gasps like air has been stolen from her lungs. Oh my God, she whispers. She turns to the maid, eyes wide with panic and hope. Did you hear her? Did you hear what she just said? The maid can't find her voice. Her mouth opens, but no words come out. Her whole body is shaking. The father takes 2 steps forward. His shoes grind over broken glass. His jaw is clenched so tight it looks painful. That's impossible, he mutters. Doctor said she'd never... Daddy! Emily interrupts, her small voice stronger this time. I saw it. The light. It's right there. She points at the flashlight. Her hand trembles, but her eyes stay fixed. The maid grips the flashlight tighter, almost afraid to breathe. Her voice finally slips out, barely a whisper. Sir, I think she's really seeing it. The father snaps his head toward her, his voice sharp, full of disbelief. What do you know? You clean this house? You think you know more than surgeons? Than specialists from New York? The mother spins around, her face wet with tears. Stop it, she shouts at him. Can't you see what's happening? Look at her. She grabs the maid's wrist, pushing the flashlight closer. Please, do it again. The maid swallows hard. Her hands are trembling so badly she can barely aim, but she steadies the beam and moves it slowly across the little girl's face. Emily's chest rises, her lips part. I see it, she whispers. I see the light again. The mother cries out, clutching her daughter. She kisses her forehead again and again. Thank you, God. Thank you. The father staggers back, his face pale. He runs a hand through his hair. This doesn't make sense, he mutters. For 6 years. Nothing. Not once. Not ever. Emily looks at him, clutching her teddy. Daddy, I saw it. I know I did. The father presses his palm against the wall to steady himself. His voice cracks. All those hospitals, all those doctors, they told us she'd never see. The maid lowers her head, Her voice is quiet but steady now. Sometimes, the people closest can't see what's right in front of them. The room goes silent again. Only the sound of the mother's sobs and Emily's breathing. The chandelier above sways gently. The smell of spilled whiskey still lingers, but no one moves. Because in that mansion, everyone knows the same thing. This moment just changed everything. The silence doesn't last. The father's voice rips through it. No, that's impossible. His face twists with fear he refuses to name. 6 years. Every test, every doctor, they all said the same thing. Emily hugs her teddy tighter. Her little voice trembles, but she pushes the words out. Daddy, I saw it. I really did. The mother pulls Emily against her chest, tears still streaking her face. She saw it, and you know she did. The father shakes his head. No, this doesn't make sense. His eyes lock on the maid, sharp and suspicious. You, what did you do? The maid keeps her eyes low. Her voice cracks as it leaves her throat. I didn't do anything, sir. I just held the light. Liar. His voice booms. Do you have any idea how many specialists we've seen? How much I've paid? You think you know more than they do? Emily's voice slices through his rage. Daddy, it was real. I saw it. The mother looks at him with fire in her eyes. Why are you fighting this? Your daughter just told you she saw something. Why can't you believe her? The father paces across the room, running a hand through his hair. His polished shoes crunch against broken glass. He mutters like a man arguing with himself. It doesn't add up. It can't be. The mother's voice rises, raw and desperate. She just saw light for the first time in her life. Stop hiding behind doctors and money and look at your child. The father stops cold. His hand grips the edge of the doorway. His chest rises and falls like he's been running. Then his eyes cut back to the maid. Tomorrow. The word falls like a stone. The maid looks up, startled. Sir? You'll come back tomorrow, he says, his voice flat and controlled. I want to see this again. Same time, tomorrow night. The mother's jaw drops. Tomorrow? Are you out of your mind? She doesn't need more waiting. She needs you to believe her right now. One night doesn't prove anything, he fires back. If this is real, it will happen again. Tomorrow. Emily's small voice breaks in. Her eyes search the maid's face. Will you come back? The maid steadies her voice, though her hands still shake around the flashlight. Yes, sweetheart. If they'll let me, I'll be here. The mother presses her lips to Emily's forehead, whispering fiercely. She's coming back. I don't care what anyone says. She's coming back. The father adjusts his tie, straightens his shoulders, but avoids looking at them. His voice comes out low and final. Tomorrow. He turns and walks out, leaving nothing but the echo of his footsteps. The mother sobs into her daughter's hair. The maid stays on the floor, frozen in place, the flashlight still clutched in her hands. And in that heavy silence, all three of them know. Tomorrow will decide everything. You ever had somebody doubt you your whole life, only to need you later? Subscribe right now because this story proves that tables always turn. And if you don't, then comment the last time somebody ignored your worth. That night, when the mansion finally fell quiet, Tasha lay flat on her thin mattress in Newark. The springs dug into her back. The paint on the walls peeled in strips. Her son slept in the next room, his soft breathing the only comfort she had left. She stared at the cracked ceiling, one hand clutching the flashlight she still hadn't let go of. And memories came rushing back. Like they always did when the world went silent. Her name was Tasha, but most people never said it. They just said, "Hey, Maid," or sometimes nothing at all, like she was invisible. But invisible people still bleed. And her story started long before she ever set foot in that mansion. It started in Harlem back in the early 90s. A cramped apartment above a corner store. Noise from the streets below, sirens in the distance, heat cutting off in the middle of winter. Tasha was 13 the first time her grandmother's sugar dropped so low she nearly fainted. The old woman had lived with diabetes for years. Insulin shots, doctor visits, long lines at the pharmacy. Tasha dropped her books on the floor and grabbed the soup pot from the stove. "Grandma, sit down. I'll take care of this." Her grandmother smiled weakly, lowering herself into a chair. "You shouldn't have to do this, baby." But she did, because no one else was there. That night, While other kids in Harlem played double dutch on cracked sidewalks, Tasha washed dishes, reheated soup, and rubbed her grandmother's legs until she fell asleep. It didn't happen once. It happened over and over. By 15, she was missing school more than she was attending. By 16, she had stopped going altogether. Her teachers tried. One pulled her aside after class. "Tasha, you're smart. You could go far if you stick with it." She looked him in the eye. "I can't. My grandmother needs me." And that was that. No prom, no graduation, just long nights and sacrifice. Years later, she found love. At least she thought it was love. A man who promised her forever, promised her family, promised her help. But promises break faster than glass. By the time their son was 7, the man was gone. No note, no goodbye, just silence. Her boy asked one night, clutching his blanket, "Mom, Daddy's not coming back, is he?" Tasha felt her throat burn. But she forced a smile, even as her eyes stung. "It's just me and you now, baby, but I promise you this, I'll never leave." And he believed her. Kids always believe their mothers, but belief didn't pay rent. Food stamps stretched thin, eviction notices slapped on the door in bright red. Her refrigerator sometimes empty, except for half a gallon of milk and a pack of bologna. She worked anywhere she could. Motel cleaning on Route 1, office bathrooms in Midtown before sunrise. Housekeeping in hotels where guests never even looked at her face. She wore the same blue uniform until it faded. Her shoes had holes by the second winter. Her hands smelled like bleach even when she washed them 3 times. And when she dragged herself home at midnight, her son would already be asleep on the couch, his homework books scattered on the floor. Sometimes he'd wake up and ask, "Mom, why do you always work so late?" She'd kiss his forehead and say, "So you don't have to when you're older." But when he drifted back to sleep, she'd sit at the table in the dark, hands covering her face, tears soaking the overdue bills stacked in front of her. She never let him see her cry. Not once. One neighbor, an older woman, asked her one afternoon while folding laundry in the hallway, "Tasha, why don't you just go on welfare? Stop running yourself into the ground." Tasha looked her straight in the eye. "Because my son deserves to see me fight, not give up." And that was the truth. Every mop she pushed, every trash bag she carried, every floor she scrubbed until her knees ached, it was all for him. Her dreams? Buried under survival. But she didn't complain. Not once. Because every sacrifice, every silent cry, every shift no one thanked her for, was fuel for her promise. A promise that her son would never feel abandoned. A promise that he would know she fought for him. And now, that same fight had carried her into a mansion she didn't belong in. Kneeling on polished marble, holding a flashlight that cost less than a meal, proving something that the best doctors in New York had all missed. She never imagined her story would lead here. From Harlem streets to a Short Hills mansion, from eviction notices to exposing the truth in a house filled with wealth. And yet, life wasn't finished testing her. Not even close. If you've ever sacrificed your dreams for family, don't scroll. Subscribe now, because this story is your story too. And if you won't, then comment below. What dream did life force you to bury? The next evening came heavy. Tasha stood outside the mansion, clutching her bag, the same flashlight inside, her palms slick with sweat. She whispered to herself, "Please God, don't let me be wrong." The door opened. Mr. Williams filled the frame. Tall, stern, his eyes like knives. "You're late." Tasha's voice cracked. "The bus, it stopped twice. I came straight here." He didn't move. For a second she thought he'd slam the door in her face, but instead he stepped aside. "Get in." Inside, the house was silent, too silent. The kind of silence that makes you want to hold your breath. Emily sat on the carpet, teddy bear in her lap. Her mother crouched beside her, gripping her hand. When she saw Tasha, the mother almost leapt forward. "You came back." Her voice was raw, like she hadn't slept all night. Tasha nodded, eyes low. "Yes, ma'am." Mr. Williams cleared his throat. "Do it again." Tasha froze, her throat dry. "Sir, I don't know if—" "Do it again," he snapped. "And this time, I'm watching everything. No tricks." The mother spun on him. "Tricks? You think she made this up? You think a child would lie about seeing light for the first time in her life?" He didn't answer. He just folded his arms, his jaw tight. "Do it again." Tasha's knees sank into the carpet. She pulled the flashlight from her bag, holding it like it might break in her hands. She looked at Emily. "Sweetheart, are you ready?" Emily hugged her teddy, then nodded. Her small voice whispered, "I'm ready." Tasha flicked the switch. The beam cut across the room. She moved it slow, left to right. At first, nothing. Her stomach twisted. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Then Emily's head turned. Her eyes followed the light. Her lips parted. "I see it." The mother's scream tore through the silence. "She sees it! Oh God, she really sees it!" Tears ran down her cheeks as she threw her arms around her daughter. "Say it again, baby. Say it again." Emily smiled just faintly. "I see the light." Tasha's hands shook so badly the beam trembled, but Emily's gaze tracked it perfectly. Wherever it moved, she followed. Mr. Williams stepped closer. "Again. Do it again." Tasha steadied herself. She dragged the light back across Emily's face. Emily's small hand lifted off the teddy. Her voice clear this time. "It's moving. I see it moving." The mother collapsed onto the carpet, sobbing into her daughter's dress. "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you." Her tears soaked the child's hair as she whispered, "You're not lost. You're not lost." The father shook his head slowly. 6 years, he muttered. 6 years of doctors, of hospitals, of bills. Every single one said the same thing. Emily looked at him, her eyes steady. "Daddy, I see it. Why don't you believe me?" His chest rose and fell, but he couldn't answer. Not yet. The maid lowered the flashlight, her arms weak, her voice barely there. "Sir, she's responding. I don't know how, but she is." The mother clutched her daughter tighter, rocking her back and forth. "She's telling you the truth. Can't you see it? She's telling you the truth." The father sank into a chair, his face buried in his hands. This changes everything." The room fell into silence again. But it wasn't the silence of doubt anymore. It was the silence of shock. A maid with a $10 flashlight had just proven every specialist wrong. But in the corners of that mansion, not everyone was ready to celebrate. Not everyone wanted this to be true. The living room still carried the weight of what just happened. Emily clutched her teddy, whispering the same words over and over. "I saw it. I saw the light." The mother rocked her gently, tears streaking down her face. "Yes, baby. You did. Mommy believes you. Mommy believes you." The father sat in his chair, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor. His hands gripped together so tight his knuckles were white. Finally he spoke. "This can't end here." The mother turned on him, voice sharp. "What do you mean it can't end here? Did you not see her?" She followed the light. She saw it. "One night proves nothing," he muttered. His voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed him. They were the eyes of a man whose world just cracked down the middle. He looked up at Tasha, really looking at her for the first time. "What's your name?" Tasha's throat tightened. She had worked in this house for weeks, and no one had ever asked. "Tasha, sir?" He repeated it slowly, like he was trying it on for size. "Tasha." Then he leaned back, exhaled, and said the words no one expected. "You'll come back tomorrow, and the next day, and every day after that." The mother's brows knitted. "Every day? What are you saying?" The father sat forward, elbows on his knees again. "I'll pay her. Whatever it takes, she'll work with Emily, daily." The mother blinked through tears. "You're hiring her?" "Yes," he snapped. "Not as a maid, as something else, a caretaker, a helper. Call it what you want. She's the only one who got a response out of Emily. So she stays, and she works. Every day." The room went silent. Even Emily paused, eyes shifting between her parents. Tasha's lips parted, but no sound came out. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely there. "Sir, I'm not qualified. I don't know the first thing about." "Qualified?" His voice cracked like a whip. "Don't say that word to me. Do you think the specialists we paid were qualified? 6 years, Tasha. 6 years of tests, exams, charts, and reports. All of them qualified, and all of them failed." The mother reached out, gripping Tasha's trembling hand. "Please, don't listen to him. You saw her. You heard her. She responded to you. That's all that matters." Emily tugged at her teddy, looking up at Tasha with wide eyes. "Will you come back, please?" Tasha swallowed hard. Her chest rose and fell, too heavy for her small frame. "If you want me to, yes, I'll come back." Emily smiled, a smile so small yet so bright it made the mother sob all over again. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." The father stood, adjusting his cufflinks like he was sealing a deal on Wall Street. You'll be paid, more than whatever crumbs they give you for cleaning toilets, triple if I have to, but you come here, every day, same time, same place. His voice was flat, businesslike, as if this was just another transaction. The mother spun toward him, fury in her eyes. Is that all you see? Money? This is your daughter's life, and you're treating it like a contract? Don't be naive, he shot back. This isn't about miracles, it's about results. If she can deliver results, she stays. If not, she goes. The mother's voice rose, sharp as glass. She's not some employee you can discard when it suits you. She's giving Emily hope, something no doctor ever did. Tasha kept her eyes on the floor. She didn't want to be caught between them, but she already was. The father jabbed a finger toward her. Hope doesn't matter if it's not real. Proof matters, that's all. Emily's voice cut through the storm. Daddy, please, don't fight. She can help me. I know she can. The father froze. His little girl hadn't asked him for much in years. Not like this. He swallowed hard, then turned away. His voice lower now. She'll come back. Tomorrow, and every day until I say otherwise. The mother brushed Emily's hair back, still holding her tight. She looked up at Tasha, her voice trembling but full of gratitude. From maid to caretaker. Just like that. You have no idea how much this means. Tasha forced a small nod, but inside her heart pounded with fear. Because in one night she had gone from invisible to essential. From scrubbing their floors to carrying the only hope this family had left. And though the room was full of relief, she could feel it already. The whispers were coming. The judgment. The doubt. The louder her role grew, the louder those voices would get. People will always try to shut you down the moment you step into your calling. Subscribe right now if you've ever had to fight to be heard. And if you won't, comment below and tell us why you'd rather stay silent. At first it felt like hope. Tasha showed up the next evening. Then the next, and every time Emily responded, her eyes followed the light, her tiny hand reached toward it, her voice whispered the same words, I see it. The mother clung to those words like oxygen. The father, though still hard, no longer argued. He watched, he recorded, he paid. But outside that living room, the whispers began. One evening, as Tasha left through the back door, two of the house staff stood by the kitchen counter. One smirked. So what are you now? A doctor with a mop? The other laughed. Please, maids don't fix blindness. She just got lucky once, that's all. Tasha lowered her eyes, clutching her bag tighter. She said nothing, but their laughter followed her out into the cold night air. The neighbors noticed too. Word traveled fast in Short Hills. A gardener saw her carpool drop off. By the next morning, whispers floated down the block. Did you hear? The maid thinks she healed the Williams girl. What's next? Miracles with a vacuum cleaner? She's probably doing tricks to keep the job longer. One woman at the grocery store leaned over to another. Mark my words. When this blows over, she'll be right back scrubbing toilets. The doctors weren't kinder. At the next appointment, the mother tried to explain. She follows the light at home. She reaches for it. She says she sees it. The specialist frowned, shuffling papers. Mrs. Williams, I understand your hope, but you're not trained, neither is your maid. The father's jaw tightened. So what are you saying? That we're imagining this? No, the doctor said carefully. I'm saying untrained observers often confuse reflexes for vision. It's not unusual. Don't get carried away. The mother slammed her hand on the table. Don't get carried away? She's my daughter. She's responding to something you all missed for years. How do you explain that? The doctor's eyes stayed cold. Coincidence. Nothing more. Tasha sat in the corner, silent, her hands folded. Every word felt like a stone thrown at her. But she kept her head down. Even family didn't believe. At Sunday dinner, one of Mr. Williams's sisters shook her head. You really think a maid saw what specialists from Columbia and Mount Sinai didn't? Be serious. Another relative added, it's dangerous. What if you're giving the child false hope? What if she gets hurt? The mother's voice shook with rage. False hope? My daughter said she saw light. That's not false. That's her truth. Or maybe, the sister muttered, sipping her wine, maybe it's a maid playing savior to keep her paycheck. The room went quiet. Every eye turned to Tasha. She stayed still, her face burning, her voice locked in her throat. At night, lying on her mattress in Newark, she replayed the voices, the laughter of staff, the whispers of neighbors, the dismissive tone of doctors, the mocking words of family. Every voice said the same thing. Maids don't fix blindness. Stay in your place. This isn't for you. Her hands clenched around the flashlight, her eyes shut tight. But she couldn't block it out. Yet even in the storm of doubt, she knew one thing. She had seen the child follow the light. She had heard her say it again and again. I see it. That was the truth, and no amount of laughter, whispers, or dismissal could erase it. But soon Tasha would do something that no one could ignore. Something bold, something undeniable, and when she did, every mocking voice in that house would fall silent. The whispers didn't stop. Staff laughed behind her back. Doctors brushed her off. Even family accused her of playing savior for a paycheck, and that night in the mansion, it boiled over. Emily sat on the carpet, teddy bear beside her. A colorful toy truck lay across the room, untouched for years. She had never reached for it, never noticed it. The father stood with arms folded, watching. The mother knelt beside Emily, rubbing her back. Tasha crouched nearby, the flashlight trembling in her hand. One more time, Mr. Williams said flatly. And this time, I want something I can't deny. The mother's eyes flashed. How many times do you need before you believe her? Until I have proof, he snapped. Proof that can't be explained away. Tasha swallowed. Her cracked phone sat on the coffee table, its screen held together with tape. She reached for it, turned the camera on. Her voice shook. If it happens again, I'll record it. The father nodded stiffly. Good, then we'll see. The mother whispered to her daughter. Baby, remember what you did yesterday. Just follow the light. That's all. Emily nodded, her little hands gripping her knees. Tasha clicked on the flashlight. The beam stretched across the carpet. She moved it slowly. Left. Right. Emily's eyes shifted. Her small head turned. Then, her hand lifted. She reached across the space in front of her. The beam landed on the toy truck. Emily gasped. There! It's there! Her little legs scrambled as she crawled forward. Her hand stretched out, and for the first time in her life, she touched the toy. The mother broke down, sobbing into her hands. She's never done that before. Never. The father's mouth fell open. His voice was low, almost disbelieving. She went straight for it. Emily hugged the toy to her chest, grinning. I saw it. I saw the light and it went here. Tasha's hands shook as she held up her phone. The red light blinked in the corner. Every second was captured. She turned the screen toward them, voice trembling. I recorded it. You can see everything. The father snatched the phone, staring at the shaky footage. He watched his daughter follow the light, watched her grab the toy. He played it again and again. Finally, his voice cracked. It's real. The mother collapsed onto the carpet beside Emily, kissing her cheeks. Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you. Tasha lowered the flashlight, tears welling in her own eyes. Her voice soft but certain. I told you she could see it. I told you. The father rubbed his face with both hands. He sank back into his chair, whispering to himself. All these years, all that money, and it was a maid who saw what no one else did. The room went quiet. Not the silence of doubt this time, the silence of proof. Because in that moment, no one could deny it anymore. Not the father, not the doctors, not the family, not even the mocking staff. A child who had never reached for a toy had just followed the light straight into hope. And it was a maid who caught it all on a cracked phone. But the biggest test of Tasha's life was still waiting outside that mansion. Proof changes everything. Don't wait until it's too late to recognize truth. Subscribe now, and if you won't, comment below. What proof would finally make you believe? The video changed everything. At first it was just the family. The mother watching it over and over. The father replaying it like a man afraid to trust what he'd seen. Emily hugging that toy like it was treasure. But soon it couldn't stay inside that house. A week later, they sat in a waiting room at a specialist's office in Manhattan. White walls, framed diplomas from Columbia and NYU, children's drawings taped to a corkboard. The doctor walked in, flipping through Emily's file. He looked at the parents, then at Tasha. So you're the one who claims she can see light. The mother stiffened. Not claims, she did. I saw it with my own eyes. The doctor raised a brow. And you are? Her mother, she snapped. Her hand squeezed Emily's shoulder. The father slid the phone across the desk. Just watch. The doctor leaned back, pressing play. The shaky footage filled the screen, Emily following the beam. Her small hand grabbing the toy truck. Her voice, clear as day. I see it. The doctor replayed it, once, twice. His jaw tightened. Finally, he set the phone down. We'll run our own tests. The exam room felt colder than the waiting area. Machines hummed. Bright lights swung overhead. Emily sat nervously, teddy bear in her lap. Sweetheart, the doctor said gently, I'm going to shine a light. Tell me what you see, okay? Emily nodded. Her little voice whispered, okay. The beam crossed her face. Her eyes moved. Her lips parted. I see it. The doctor froze. The nurse looked up from her clipboard. The mother grabbed her daughter's hand, tears spilling down her face. Say it again, baby. I see it, Emily repeated louder this time. The doctor lowered the light, adjusting his glasses. He muttered under his breath. Incredible. After all these years, how did we miss this? The father leaned forward, voice sharp. That's what I want to know. How did you miss this? The doctor cleared his throat, his confidence cracking. It's rare. Very rare. Some children develop light perception late or in ways standard exams overlook. It doesn't excuse it, but we failed her. We failed all of you. When they left the office, the story traveled fast. First to relatives, then to neighbors, and soon other parents. At the grocery store, a woman approached Tasha quietly. Are you the maid? The one who helped the Williams girl? Tasha hesitated. Yes. The woman's eyes welled up. My son was born with a retinal condition. Doctors told us there was no hope. Will you look at him? Just once? Another parent reached out after church. Please. Everyone says you helped that little girl. My daughter needs someone like you. Phone calls started coming. Strangers asking, begging. Could she bring the flashlight? Could she just try? Word spread through whispers, then through whole neighborhoods. Tasha was no longer invisible. She was no longer just the maid. She had become the woman who noticed what specialists missed. The woman who gave a child hope when the system had turned its back. One night, sitting on her mattress in Newark, she looked at her son as he slept. His arm thrown across his blanket, his face soft in the glow from the street light outside. She whispered to herself, this isn't just about Emily anymore. And she was right. Because the very next step in her journey would prove to her and to the world that this was no longer one family's story. It was a fight that stretched far beyond that mansion. Weeks passed, word spread, Emily kept improving. Her eyes followed more light, her hands reached for more toys. Her laughter filled the mansion in ways it never had before. And everywhere Tasha went, whispers followed her. Not the mocking whispers this time, but new ones. That's her. The maid who helped the Williams girl. She's the one they're talking about. Some people still doubted, some still scoffed, but others leaned in close, asking questions, begging for help. And for the first time in her life, Tasha wasn't invisible. One evening, she stood in the bathroom of her Newark apartment. The mirror was cracked in two places, the light above it buzzing faintly. She stared at her own reflection. The same blue uniform, the same tired eyes, the same hands rough from bleach and scrubbing. But something was different. Her voice broke the silence. I'm not just a maid anymore. Her son's small voice floated in from the bedroom. Mom? She turned, wiping her eyes quickly. Yeah, baby? At school today, they said you're a hero. Is that true? Her chest tightened. She walked to his door, leaning against the frame. I don't know about hero, but maybe for one little girl I was. Her son smiled, his head sinking back into the pillow. You're my hero too. She whispered back. I promised I'd never leave you, and I won't. Later that night, she sat on the edge of her bed, phone in hand, scrolling through messages, parents from Brooklyn, Queens, Newark, all asking for her, all begging for hope. She whispered to herself, sometimes the people nobody sees hold the answers everyone needs. And that's the truth. So next time you walk past the janitor mopping the hallway, next time you rush by the cashier bagging your groceries, next time you ignore the bus driver who gets you home safe, remember Tasha. Because one day the person you overlook, the person you laugh at, the person you refuse to even acknowledge, could be the very one who saves your child, your family, your life. Don't just watch the story, share it. Comment below if you've ever ignored someone who later shocked you. And if you still refuse to subscribe after hearing this, then go to the comments and tell us why you'd rather stay blind. I'll be reading every word.